Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Saul Canelo Alvarez has two potential fights coming up, and these are the two most likely fights that he will have going forward. According to Eddie Hearn, I think from DAZN's perspective, DAZN would want Canelo Alvarez versus Daniel Jacobs and Canelo versus Golovkin. They're the two fights. Now, that was in reference to DAZN wanting those two being the primary next two fights for Canelo Alvarez in 2019. And I think they'll get just that. I think both of those fights make a lot of sense. They would be huge, massive fights. A rematch with Gennady Golovkin, but first a fight with Daniel Jacobs. And I think that Canelo has the potential to win both of those fights. I think right now you have to rank Canelo at the very top of the pound-for-pound list with the Terence Crawford, with the Mikey Garcia, because Canelo Alvarez has proven a lot. You're going to hear a lot of fanboys coming out and saying, why is he still not fighting Jermall Charlo? Doesn't matter. Jermall Charlo is irrelevant at 160 pounds, if we're being honest and unbiased. I think Canelo Alvarez looks to his next two fights to be top-level, elite-level fighters and unification fights with world championships. I think Danny Jacobs makes the most sense because I think that could turn into a trilogy type of fight. I think they can have a very good and close fight, and they can he can also unify a title. But I also see the fact that Canelo Alvarez could stop Daniel Jacobs if he hit him flush with a couple good body shots as well. We've seen Daniel Jacobs have a few issues with his chin at times, and especially taking good shots. So that could be an issue there. I also think Canelo Alvarez would have the disadvantage against the height and reach against Daniel Jacobs, so I think that could come into play because Daniel Jacobs actually knows how to use his height and reach advantage. I think they're both elite level boxers. I think it'll be a chess match and a hell of a match to watch. Don't underrate that matchup. It's a 50-50 fight. As far as Canelo and Triple G, I think Canelo Alvarez blows Triple G out of the water the second time. I think Triple G getting older. I think the fact that Canelo Alvarez is still in his prime and only getting better boxing-wise with the experience that he has over Gennady, I think the third fight is the easiest fight for Canelo, and it's not even close. So that's just my opinion on those two fights. I don't think that Canelo Alvarez needs to worry about any of the haters. When you look at what DAZN did after the Canelo Alvarez fight, it reached #1 on, I believe, iOS and Android downloads as being the most downloaded app. So that lets you know that Canelo Alvarez's popularity has pushed DAZN to the forefront of these apps and is becoming more of a successful platform because of Canelo Alvarez, because of what he showcased. And that was just against a Rocky Fielding. That's not even against a top-level fighter. So when you hear a lot of this bias, new media such as Bias, Ego, and, these guys hating constantly on DAZN, why would you hate on a platform that's trying to give you fights without all those pay-per-view costs? That makes no sense. You look at Showtime, Showtime, and the PBC, they're bringing you, and even Fox, they're bringing you 3 back-to-back pay-per-views. No one wants to pay constantly for pay-per-views. Now, we are all boxing fans. We still want to see the matchups. We still will watch. But I think it's the right thing to do is try to move away from pay-per-view. And I think Canelo Alvarez leads the charge because he's the only bona fide solidified pay-per-view star. He's the biggest star in boxing. And I think it makes the most sense that DAZN had to get everything they could to get him on their platform. I think Canelo Alvarez, if he doesn't fight Triple G after Danny Jacobs, I think he should look for another massive fight against a top-level fighter or a unification fight. I'd love to see Canelo versus Demetrius Andre. I'd love to see Canelo Alvarez versus a Callum Smith. I'd love to see Canelo Alvarez versus Gilberto Soto Ramirez. I think that'll be an interesting fight as well. I think Canelo has so many options because of who he is, because of how talented he is. He can fight pretty much anyone in the world, and it'd be a mega fight. But once again, Unbiased, as always, it's the Ibfp. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.